Many athletes are bored in gym class, and this leads to goofing off and not doing the correct things while playing their games or physical fitness. And to give a concept of what we're talking about, there was a scientific experiment by Velasco in Georgia, and they found that 35% of athletes usually find themselves in repetitive drills to repetitive, just repetitive activities and workouts, which is detrimental to athletes. And when we can put that into their context to our context, as student athletes, when we're in gym class, usually by the end of class or anything, we're bored because we're not really competing, and it's a basic level of activity where I feel as though many of our athletes are wanting to probably spend their time more wisely in their own sport. So the concept that I will be putting into place here is how we rethink the way we do our gym class. Now, this is going to take a community of our athletic department to, even more importantly, our student athletes, where student athletes are going to have to communicate with the gym teachers and coaches on drills to dietary plans, and for counselors, they're going to be working on the schedules, and the student athletes are going to have to figure out a way to create scheduling through if they want to be a part of the SAG program in full length, or if they want to take like health and regular gym separately. This is a student-led choice scheduling opportunity where the student's going to put in as much as they get out of it. Now, how are athletes going to get credit for this? Student athletes are going to be getting credit through games and practices. And for athletes, that's huge because we've been doing this outside of our class, our regular schedules. And if we can put this in place, it's going to save us time in our regular school day for our gym class. And the other opportunities that lie in this is that even in the off season for athletes, they would be putting in work for their time being, where they can be doing guided workouts, speed, strength, and agility. They would be, even more importantly, they can have an opportunity to study the game, where they can get video of their opponents and our team to learn how to execute and find the success on the field. So what I'm trying to explain is that we can find the strengths and weaknesses of the opposing team, and we can find their strengths and use them as their weakness, where we can find every move that they make. And it's a game changer because all D1 colleges, they all do this. They have cameras set up so they can learn the statistics and probabilities of how to execute the game plan at the top form. And if we can bring this down to a high school level, we would be dominating our opponents. And this proves a lot to life, though, because if we have the opportunities to study and put in the extra hour of every class time that we can get, it's going to show in the future. Now, the scheduling would be for a regular student, they would be taking the gym class, the health class, and they would be having driver's ed. And student athletes, they would also be taking driver's ed, but we can combine gym and health into SAG which is student athletes gym. And then in place of those gym classes in the health, we could be putting in uh, study halls for our athletes so they can be getting their homework done, they can be studying, they can be doing multiple other things, trying to finish the grad project. And that time's crucial because being a student is coming first and more than an athlete. So in saying this, we can also have another electives like business classes to the driver's ed, and it's going to replace hours outside of school and just put them in school. So it's more time efficient for everyone, and it's going to make our plan, like it's going to make it easier on the student, which is what we would want. Now, if you're thinking about this in the back of your mind, how are we going to have coaches get out to these practices? Their teachers that are coaches are not going to be able to not
silence in the crowd, please.
Silence in the crowd, please. They're not going to be able to be excused from practices, but they can be excused from games, which is just like pretty much student athletes to normal schedules. But what are we going to be doing for the time being? How are we going to have the kids get out to practice? And the way that we're going to be doing that is through head coaches and through our gym teachers if they're free in schedule, as well as even having a substitute coach or teacher, if you want to say. And that would basically mean that once we get down to that level, we would have our student athletes, our leaders, our captains, we would be having them execute the practice. They would be practicing. There you go. They would be leading the practice. Yes, they would be leading the practice in going through warm-ups and probably starting the practice, where many of our seniors are responsible enough and they know the drills. We know how to get this started, get practice started and be productive. Now, the goal for this would be that we would have relationships with our coaches that are everlasting. We would have memories of us winning the championship and creating more success through our programs, where someday we can be looking back on it and knowing that we made a difference in our community, we made a difference in ourselves, and it led us to the paths of success down the road. And we'll have the memories of Friday Night Lights, 7 o'clock tip-off, and many of these activities come from the base foundation of how much work do you want to put in. And that's all I have. If you have any questions, please ask.
Yes. So are student athletes on board to give up their flex for the student athlete gym, the SAG program?
Repeat that one more time, please.
Are student athletes willing to give up their flex period for the SAG program?
So I asked around on the baseball team to football to basketball, and many of the athletes from going from sophomore, juniors, and seniors, they all loved this idea because it would create more time for them to study, but as well they could be getting credit for just doing something that they love and or what they like to do. And it would honestly, when a student or an athlete is interested in something, they're going to go at it to their full ability. And we've been taught that over a decade of our lives. If we are interested in doing something, it's 100 or it's not. And it's going to prove in the classroom if you're going to be slacking off or if you're going to be if it's going to prove on the field then. So this program would create the right mindset and have them be more confident in the classroom as well on the field.
Indeed. And one final question. So you said D1 colleges are already doing this. They go over the tapes. So are you saying they want thinkers?
Yes, I would say when D1 colleges, I've been through the camps, I've been through the system, and I've noticed that they want more athletic. They would want the people that know the game already, and they're also looking for the attributes of having like the if they're tall enough, strong enough, fast enough, and if when you put in our program and then you put in the studying factor, and when it comes to study time for in D1, and you already can point out the factors of their weaknesses, or knowing for in baseball, knowing what pitch they're going to be throwing as a hitter or as a pitcher, finding tendencies is the biggest thing in baseball, but in any sport. It puts you ahead of the game in high school, but then it's gonna put you ahead of the game in Division 1, but it's gonna put you that much further in high school, and it's gonna show over time. But it's up to the student athletes and our community to make this a thought a reality,
Yes.
dream a reality, I should say. So.
And just one final question. Would athletes be forced to take this flex year round or only during the off season?
It would be year round. They would be signing up knowing that they're creating like. Hold on. So you say that one more time. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure my answer is correct for you.
Yes, absolutely. Would student athletes that choose the SAG program be opting into this for a full year or only during their off seasons?
So, if you would be wanting this also comes down to scheduling and how we want to prepare this, but we can have. I would have to be looking into trying to figure that out for scheduling. It would be the full year plan would be making it a lot easier on the athlete because they would be creating their own. They would be creating their own schedules, dietary plan, and it would be counting credit for how much work you're already putting in with your teachers and your coaches. And let's say you have a fall sport and you're only playing the fall sport, you can be creating. You can create SAG for yourself in the off seasons of that after your sport, and you can be training. And even if you're a senior, you can be doing this to benefit yourself to get into college if you are preparing to go to college. And if you're not, then you can opt out junior year and say that you don't want to be a part of SAG. But then you would have to be taking, if you have enough credits, you would have to be taking another class, another elective. So is that it, or do you have another question? All right, I want to say thank you again, Mrs. Mathis. You've been a great teacher. I love you. I hope this video suited well. Thank you.